The following is a fan-based discussion, and all materials being discussed are owned by Toei and Subaraya Productions. I claim no ownership to the materials being discussed and is purely fan opinion.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the TFX channel. I'm a huge tokusatsu and anime fan. I'm sure basically every one of you who watch my videos can see that. I really enjoy talking about my thoughts on shows that I have seen, hence my review videos. But I also enjoy talking about random things that are toku and anime related, but may not only apply to any one particular show. As such, I'm starting a new series called TFTalk, or TFTalk, where, as the name suggests, I talk about topics that come to mind in regards to toku, anime, and any other animated shows. For the first episode of this series, I will be talking about the differences between binge watching a show and watching it weekly. A lot of you would know that binge watching a show means watching multiple episodes a day or in one sitting, and watching it weekly would be watching one episode per week, which mostly applies to new shows because in Japan, for animes and TV shows, one episode comes out every week. It also applies to American TV shows, although a difference I found when it comes to American TV shows, at least with the few that I have seen, is that when it first comes out, it may air more than one episode. An example of this is Young Justice Season 4, where when it first came out, 2 episodes aired before it went back to airing one episode a week. A difference that immediately comes to mind is the time that it will take to finish a show. Like you can binge watch a show in like a few days, or you could watch it weekly and complete it in a year, because a lot of toku shows have around 50 episodes, meaning they air over the span of about a year, except for Ultraman, which are only around half as long. Of course, there are also animes that are even shorter with like 10-ish episodes, meaning you can literally binge it in like a day if you want. The difference between the two in terms of their meaning is easy to understand and sounds small, but I can assure you the differences between the two is anything but small. Before I go into more detail, this mostly applies to new shows, aka shows that are currently airing, like Comrade Zets and Gavin Infinity. Because for currently airing shows, you can't really binge it, at least initially, because for these shows, you can either watch it weekly or wait until every episode has come out and then binge it. For older shows, I do not see many people watching one episode per week. I mean, you can, but I just don't see it as really that common. Now, let's get into the differences, which I will be talking about from my own personal experiences, so it may be different for you guys. It will first depend on what type of show you're watching. Specifically, I mean episodic shows versus serialized shows. I don't really have the most experience when it comes to watching shows live. Like with Kamen Rider, I watched the last 5-ish episodes of Gav live, and of course, Zets currently. With Sentai, I've only seen Gozuja live, and with Ultraman, I watched Decker, about half of Arc, specifically after the debut of Galaxy Armor, and Omega, which was literally the last Ultraman series that ended. Gavin Infinity. I'm not entirely up to date with that one, so I'm not going to mention that one too much. In terms of other animated shows and anime, I have not seen that many live. Like I'm currently watching season 2 of The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, because I love a good romance story. Let's start with what it's like to watch shows live. Something I really enjoy besides obviously watching toku and anime is talking about my thoughts on the shows that I have seen. The good thing with watching shows live is that when you talk about the episode you just watched, it helps to prevent spoilers because you're experiencing the show alongside everyone else, provided of course that you keep yourself up to date with said show. It's not only just talking about what I've seen every time a new episode airs that I enjoy, but also talking about any predictions or theories on Discord in regards to the direction that the show may go towards. I remember doing this with Gozuja when it was airing, and Zets as well, which is currently airing. Like with Zets, we know when the final form will debut, but I'm curious as to what the main character has to go through to attain said form. Currently, nobody knows for sure because the episode hasn't come out yet, but I just really like discussing these with other Toku fans. It also gives you time to really take in and digest what you just watched. especially if something really shocking happens. Again, this goes for me when I watch Zets. The twists that we've gotten in Zets are crazy. I will admit I did see a few of them coming before the actual reveal, but still it doesn't make it any less mind-blowing. I'm not a big fan of waiting when it comes to watching toku and anime. Actually, it's not that I'm not a big fan. I flat out don't like waiting a week for every new episode. Because if I see something interesting in the current episode and in the preview of the next episode, I want to know what will happen. And it's really annoying that I need to wait a week to find out. Like with Zets currently, Gozuja when it was airing, and for anime, The Angel Next Door Who Spoils Me Rotten Season 2, which is also currently airing, I was excited for every new episode, so at least the excitement helps to ease the frustration I felt while waiting, at least partially. However, what I said here only applies to if you enjoy the show enough to want to continue watching it. I have seen shows that I disliked or even hated in some cases, such as Saber, Gotchard, Ryu Soldier, and Ultraman Trigger. I didn't watch these live, but I feel like if I did watch them live, I probably would have hated them more. If you watched around, I would say, the first 3 to 5 episodes and don't like it, then I wouldn't really recommend watching that show live, because there's a chance that you'll be disappointed when the new episode comes out. Basically, you hold on to the hope that the show will improve. But imagine that hope constantly getting destroyed by disappointment, which may happen if the episode was a filler episode that contributed nothing to the overall story, or if the episode itself was just not good. That's not to say I wouldn't recommend doing this for more episodic shows like Arc, Omega, and Gozuja. Yeah, every episode in Gozuja connects to an overall story, but the way it's executed makes it feel like filler. For these shows, I enjoyed the individual episodes enough for me to continue watching it on a weekly basis. Now let's switch over to binge watching a show. It's not just old shows, but even with new shows, if you don't want to watch it live, you can wait for every episode to come out and then binge them. With this, you want to be more careful about spoilers, especially for shows that have been around for a long time, like Kuga, Gaim, Tiga, and Dekaranger, just to name a few, because the longer the show has been around for, the more likely that more people would have seen and talked about it, leading to spoilers for both you and others. For me, it's not really an issue because I don't mind spoilers. Besides spoilers, you also want to be careful not to burn out when watching multiple episodes in one sitting, because that may happen, especially if you are paying close attention to every detail in every episode. For anime, this may not be as much of an issue because a lot of anime series are very short, like 10ish episodes. But then again, there are also anime like One Piece and Detective Conan with over 1,000 episodes. Not to mention, they're not even done yet, and I'm not up to date with either one of those two. Binge watching can help you when it comes to shows with issues in its storytelling, such as a lot of filler or the story stagnating in the middle, because you can immediately go to the next episode without having to wait a week. If you are a diehard fan like me and you're watching a show that you don't like, you can literally get the show done in like a few days by binging it, if you want obviously. This happened to me when I watched the second half of Revice. I was disappointed during the second half, so I started watching like 10 episodes a day to get it over and done with as quickly as possible. For more serialized shows like Gaim, XA, Nexus, and King Oger, binge watching may allow you to remember some of the details better because you have less time to forget them. Even though for some of the more, minor details, you probably still wouldn't notice them unless you rewatch it. This may also help you in keeping track of character development, especially when it comes to shows with larger casts, because just like I said before, binging it gives you less time to forget. A relatively recent example of this is King Oger, which aired 3 years ago at this point. Those of you who have seen King Oger would know that that show essentially has no filler at all. It's one continuous story throughout, meaning you have to watch every single episode in order to know what's happening. In fact, it's not just one continuous story. Every character's story and development are intertwined, so binge watching may help you remember the story details. At least that's what I think, because I didn't watch King Oger live, and the stuff that happens in each episode is crazy, so I doubt I would remember them if I watched it weekly. Now, obviously, whether to watch a show live or binge it is entirely up to you. And the points that I have mentioned in this video may not apply to everyone because everyone is different in more ways than one. Not to mention, I would imagine a lot of us would binge the older shows and watch the newer shows live. So basically doing both in our lives as tokusatsu and anime fans. I'm one of them. But again, that doesn't apply to everyone. Plus, while it's true that a lot of us do binge watch shows, the pacing at which we watch it will not be exactly the same. After all, we want to avoid burning out, but it also applies to how much we enjoy the show that we're currently watching. That just about wraps up what I have to say for this topic of binge watching versus watching weekly. What do you guys think about this? Do you agree with what I said? And what habits do you guys have when it comes to watching toku or anime? Feel free to talk about it in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, follow me on all my socials, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye everybody!